Me to go.
We'll check. Bye, Liz.
Okay. It's 23 minutes from now.
Yeah, it's already on
Okay,
the
so
timer.
I don't have to worry.
No.
It's what, 3? I can't tell.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, it is just a nice tradition to...
See, like my sister living in Montreal, that has been a hardship for all of us, that she was so far away.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because, I mean, your bond with her must have been very
It's very
deep.
strong, very strong. I always sort of looked after her, you know.
Yes.
It seems that way. And now that she's so far away, now that she's not well, and, you know, she has this problem with her mind, it's so difficult.
Yes.
I really would want her to reverse that situation, you know. But
yes.
I know that it's not easy and probably not possible.
Yes.
But I want her to be comfortable and to be happy.
Do you think she'd ever consider moving out here? Because she's got her...
Well, she was here for 6 months approximately.
Yes.
And you know, her boys are there.
Yes.
You know, the family is there.
Yes.
Of her husband.
Mm-hmm.
She has her home there. I think it's important that she's in her own home.
Mm-hmm.
She did want to go back, but now she says sometimes, "Oh, I should have stayed with you," you know. But it's hard to know.
Yes.
It's hard to know.
That's right.
But I hope maybe to make a trip there this summer.
Yes.
Hopefully, you know, I'll see her
Yes.
and see how that goes.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You were talking about being a grandmother yourself. What are some of the things you enjoy most about it?
Oh, I just about being a grandma. Well, just love when they first came. It's just so wonderful to hold them, you know.
Oh yes,
to hold them, to have them, and to see the family in them, you know, the future family in them. And, oh my goodness, somebody's at the door.
Oh, looks like a delivery or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's wonderful telling them stories.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
Is that Gavin?
Okay.
I think so,
I
yeah.
don't have to stop with.
Yes, the telling stories is...
Yeah, stories and telling them stories. You know, I still have a story about the moon.
Oh!
About the moon in Krakow when we were in Poland.
I don't think you've told me that one.
I'm trying to think how it all went. But when we were in India, in the hot months, we would come to Poland.
Right.
And I would sign them into school there. It was like a kindergarten at that time.
Right.
And their Polish is quite good because they had those you know, those months in Poland. That was very helpful. And in Krakow at the square, at the market square, there's a big church, and the steeple was there, and you could see the moon over behind the steeple, and I would tell them the story about the moon. It looked like it had its chin cut off, and it was cut off by the steeple. You know?
Oh!
And the moon would shine, and it was asking for its chin to be put back on again. And I would go into the kitchen and make some flour and water, and make a dough out of it, and make a chin, and I would put it out there, and you know, to get the chin on the moon.
Oh, what a good idea!
And that was a story that we had. You know, that as the moon filled up, you know, you could see the chin would be growing, right?
Oh yes.
So that was what we would have, little stories like that, for the moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So they always liked that story. No, what else did we do? Well, when we were in Poland, we'd go to the park, and the girls sometimes spoke English to themselves, between themselves, and people would hear that, and they would come up, and they wanted their children to play with the girls, so they would learn English. So we were always in the park, and I said, "You have to speak Polish, otherwise you're going to have to teach English." But it was fun. They enjoyed Krakow very much. You know, that was great fun. We stayed with my aunt at that time.
Oh, okay.
The one that was later on in Siberia.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She was a botanist.
She was the botanist, yeah.
Right.
That one, yeah. We stayed with her. And when we were there, we always had to get some shots, injections.
Yes.
Because when we went to India, we always had to have our injections up to date. And then I would get the syringes, I would wash them out, and I would give them the syringes to play with without the needles. And they would, shoot at each other with syringes. And they later found out that there were people in the next balcony below, and they would fill up the water with the syringes and put water down on the people on the next balcony. And of course, the next balcony just happened to be the caretaker. It was not a good choice.
Oh, no.
So we kept on getting into trouble a lot,
That sounds like fun.
We always had fun. We always had really fun. And Krakow was really a lot of fun. It was a beautiful city, and people were wonderful. And, we had some family there, so that was great.
Yes.
Yeah, and we loved the food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the food, because we ate Indian food at this point. We were in India at that point.
Yes.
So,
what were some of the foods that you...
in India?
No, the ones
Poland.
in Poland.
No,
that you went back to.
we would go to these milk bars, and they would have the pierogies,
Right.
the pockets of
Yes.
filled with either potatoes and cheese, or meat, or cabbage and mushrooms, and they were made into little half moons, sort of, and then they would be boiled, and then maybe fried with onions,
Yes.
and mushrooms, or just butter and crumbs. Also, we would eat that, and we made a lot of pancakes. But they were the pancakes that didn't have the baking powder. They would be just with milk and eggs.
Oh.
And flour.
Right.
They would be just very flat.
Right. And thin?
Thin.
Like a crepe?
Yeah, crepes, yes, more like
Okay.
crepes. And then we would put maybe fruit inside, like apples, stewed apples, or meat, and roll them up.
Yes.
And that was very Polish food. Lots of pastas, various types of pastas, or homemade pasta. Pasta with potatoes, and it's called leniwe kluski, lazy dumplings, I guess you'd call them.
Oh, okay.
Because they were just mixed with, then you would make kluski śląskie, which would be, you just would grate potatoes, and put a little flour and a little eggs with that, and fry them, or make pancakes with them, or else just make roll them out and then cut them into just pasta, and boil them in water.
Mm-hmm. That must have been very different from what you were eating in India.
Well, it's interesting, but India, it had a lot of this flour things, like they would have the chapatis, they would have things you roll up into them,
Yes.
Meat or beef or whatever, and the Indian food was quite spicy. It was very spicy. It was very spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But they ate a lot of yogurt with the spicing.
Yes,
But,
to tame the heat,
to tame
right?
the heat, yeah.
Yes.
But, so.
Yes.
And Polish food was, was more flour oriented, more potato oriented at that time, because this was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
70s and 80s, and at that time, meat was getting to be more plentiful.
Yes.
But
still not.
No, you have to line up for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food was not as plentiful. But what else can we talk about? I was wondering.
You started to tell me last time about the pussy willows in the basket for the Something to do with the Easter.
Yes, this is Easter tradition. We would
yeah.
make like this basket. We would make the baskets like that and take them to church, and always had to have eggs because eggs signified wealth and signified a good health and food, and they would be blessed. And we would always take a little bit of salt as well with us, a salt shaker or just in a little sack, a little bit of salt, and some bread, a few slices of bread.
3?
A few.
Oh, a few.
A few slices of bread.
Okay.
And you can take as much as you want, but always took a little bit of bread. And then we would bake or make little lambs, like signifying Jesus, Lamb of God.